Okay, episode 3. Just went off the second one. I need to see what happens. Not much of an opening, intro, whatever. Let's get into it. Play. I feel you. I'm about right there too. Oh, that artwork is beautiful. Same. The power of one person. Oh, what you doing? Yo! Go! Go! Come on, 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 come on. It has to do with energy. Strong vision, no room for doubt. What the fuck is Bakugo doing? This was it.
ここが夢の終わりだった。
This was the end of the dream.
運命がねじ曲がったんだ。
Became twisted.
確かに君の夢はあそこで終わった。そして約束が残った。
A promise remained.
あなたはそれを果たさなければ。先達は死して託すと相場は決まっているのだな。それはコミックの話さ。闇年なり。幻覚に何を言わせてんだろうね。
Why am I making hallucinations say to me?
ヒーローであり人間だもの。楽には死ねないさ。なんだこの光は。
これって爆破の個性。あれ、この人どっかで。あれだ、昔美談連合に拉致られた。
What's the I'm talking about?
それで拘束されてた。名前なんだっけ。
Oh, the kids from the second movie! What? It's...
こっちのセリフ。
Thank you, Bakugo. What the fuck?
血流に乗り流れてきたそれは死の直前。爆豪の全身から溢れ
Been pouring out to you just before your death.
汗の玉。大爆殺しダイナマイト。
Die boxing dynamite.
与えてやれないか。
Oh, that smile.
オールマイトの命を奪うか。いや、後回しだ。ここまで来たら弟を先にいただく。風は僕に吹いていたはずだ。俺がラスボスだ。俺は
He's the guy who got the voice. Bitch ass nigga.
こっちで拭ってな。
Jesus.
あいつは死の間際瞬間ではあったが死柄木すら翻弄する動きを見せた。あいつは何かを掴みかけている途中だ。
Jesus.
爆破で体が痛い。だがこの副作用を生かせ。
Look at him.
まだもっと。もういい。後にする。まったく壊したはずのやつがゴキブリのようにしぶとく。まあいいさ。壊すだけだ。何度でもさらに。
Bro, I'm so tired of you.
距離を取ってフォースで何とかしのいできたけど、再生プラス即死持ちプラス前より強化されている肉体にどう対処する。
That's a good question.
答えは見つからなかった。セカンドは発動したら最後。発動時間に関わらず切った途端反動で体が動かなくなる。発動した以上は今度こそ
Don't do it.
最後。さらに向こうへ。まだ シャドウほどの圧力もない。後にすればいい。
Yeah, alright.
とは比べべくもない。これ以上巻き戻しを進行させてまでかかずらうほどの価値も意味も意味しも
He about to fucking show you. You think that
ない。分かってきた。
he understands it now?
手のひらに溜めた
The pain of sweat drops I stored up on my palm, racing through my whole.
痛み、吹き出る痛み、
The pain gushing out.
感覚、痛みでつかめ、誘惑のタイミング。 こいつはイズク、俺まだお前に追いつけるかな。なんでだろうな。なんか今追い越せそうな気がする。見て、あんた勝樹が
It's your son.
あいつはそれでも見なきゃ。
No, you have to watch. That's your son.
だってあの子きっといつもみたいに笑って
Look at him!
なぜだ。なぜこの意識からなぜ僕のオールマイトリーチはだ。余一ならもういないぞ。
Hold on, let me pause. I ain't got nothing. I'm not gonna lie to you. Hey, YouTube. This is filmed like after the episode 3, a couple of days after. I was drained and could not do it after that. Such an amazing episode. But yeah, I wanted to give a couple of thoughts, like after the fact, after it's had time to, digest it and sit with me for a little while. It was easily one of my favorite episodes of the entire series. You can see kind of how I reacted to it, so I think that might be pretty clear. But one thing that's really weird for people who don't like do YouTube, and like I'm not the most familiar with YouTube, but like, and especially like kind of recording yourself, filming certain things, like it's a weird thing kind of seeing yourself, or at least for me it is, and definitely seeing myself, because I know, and I think a lot of people are like this, but it might just be like a me and a couple other people thing. Is I get like really invested into like fiction, and other media. So it's not just like anime, it's movies, TV shows, comics, like manga, all of that kind of stuff. I get like really invested. I start really caring about these characters and the stories and plots and all these different things. And so when I like consume something that has such an effect on me like My Hero does, it's because I've never actually like seen myself react to it except for like when I started filming those, right? So seeing my facial expression, seeing like how I look, it's such a weird feeling, right? I don't know if you've experienced that, but it definitely is strange to me at least. But yeah, if you guys get like that, let me know in the comments, like if you kind of feel that way about like me and things like that. But yeah, the episode, I have a few notes here because I typically end up all over the place when I speak, so I kind of wanted to focus a few of my thoughts on not only what happened in episode 2, but episode 3 as well. Right? I didn't get a chance to kind of say what I thought about episode 2 because for more context, I had watched 1 through 3 like consecutively. And I was immersed, you know what I mean? I need to get to the next episode and like whatever, perspective I could get or give, would more than likely be addressed, in that next episode. So, and I really wanted to see it. So I didn't add anything. But in this case, right, for episode 2, something that I think it did really well was kind of like the despair aspect of it, because it showed what the world kind of looked like without All Might, right? And kind of just how strong All for One really was, right? We've always seen that, but like in the situation, it seemed like no one can do anything, right? Stain, he died, and then All for One took his quirk. And then All Might just getting beat down, and then he says, I can't fight anymore. When I was looking at it, like that whole episode had me stressed. I am not going to lie to you. I was like, man, they really about to kill my dog. Like he's really about to die here. I was like, oh man, I hope I don't really like just start crying on camera because that would look crazy. But and if I did, I guarantee before this series is over, I am going to be crying. Like it is what it is. I've been watching this for what, like 10 years? I think that's how long this anime has been out. So it's been a long time coming, and it's been an amazing, wonderful experience. But on the episode, like it's not only the fact that you kind of see what the world looks like without All Might and All for One's reign kind of coming back again, but you also get to see the seeds that All Might has planted, right? Through his actions. Like there's a scene in episode 2 where All Might is walking down like a stone path. And in my mind, I viewed it as the path that he created with his own 2 hands. Matter of fact, now that I think about it, maybe not even that. It's maybe the path that was kind of, started by Nana, and ultimately all the other One for All members and even just other heroes, and the path that All Might maybe walked on as well as expanded. And on that path was both Deku and Bakugo, right, with their All Might cards, and then it's very hero-esque. Right, where at the end, where things seem the most dire, when it doesn't seem like anything can be done, you have Bakugo being the one to wake up, right? To be the one to, carry on his will in the same way that Deku is, right? And they've always both wanted to be like him. So, and I mean, a lot of people do, but they've been a big focus in this series of people who wanted to be like him. And like the music that plays when Bakugo wakes up is amazing. Like it's such a like angelic kind of track. Maybe that might not be the most apt way to say that, but it was I definitely noticed it, and I'd like to hear it again and see what the OST is called. But yeah, it was really cool to see that happen. And speaking of music, I didn't mention this, but both the opening and ending are amazing. They are definitely going on the playlist and going to be in the rotation. The first opening being by the same people who made the opening for this season being the same as the people who made the opening for the first season, and the day has come part just it's full circle. But it's almost like, whereas in the first opening it's more of a let's go, this one is a much more somber, like we have to do this kind of thing, but we will do it to save people, right? That's kind of the feeling that I get. And then the ending, I mentioned it in the reaction, but I knew it was Bump of Chicken immediately. Their voice the main singer's voice is so recognizable, I didn't even have to think about it. And then the animation that went with that, oh my goodness, the animation that went with that. To me, it is the best ending, right? If we're just talking about raw animation, like it sums up like the entire series in like a minute and 30 seconds, right? All the things that happened, like a lot of the biggest moments, like it's just beautifully animated, so good. And the song also is so good. It's just great job, y'all did a phenomenal job. Yeah, and it just the second episode so good. And that kind of leads us to the third episode, one of my favorite episodes in the series so far, for multiple reasons, right? The easy part is the animation, right? But really, I think for me, it's the bounce back from the despair of episode 2, where a lot of episode 2 is, things not going as expected, things not going as planned, things getting worse and worse, reminding people of a time that was really bad. And something that I didn't mention in episode 1 or 2 is all the different perspective we're seeing, right? Everyone is watching this essentially live streamed across the entire planet. And you get to see all these characters that we've seen at certain points in time, whether from the movies or whether just during, regular episodes, having a reaction to what's going on. And it's people from all across the world. And I think that, getting to kind of see where everyone is and then their kind of ups and downs is really cool. Because otherwise we just have the perspective of, what's happening to the people who are actually at the scene. And them reacting to like Bakugo and saying like, oh, that's the kid who got like kidnapped or something, like, that type of thing. And seeing him, and then them also seeing him save All Might. There's it's crazy because I got these notes, but there's so many thoughts I have, just in general, right, about this episode. But like if Bakugo, I see why people call him Bakugo now. I feel that. So for me, I honestly hated Bakugo for a very long time. I never really liked those type of like bully type characters. Like I understand now why, but like from the beginning, for a very long time, for multiple seasons, I did not like that character. He always was like that, like he could always fight and things like that, but as a character he was always just like kind of repulsive to me. But now that like I kind of understand his perspective and where he's coming from, he's one of my favorite characters in the entire series right now. And it's not necessarily for his strength. Obviously he's very strong, but no, it's he or potentially Endeavor may have had the most amount of character development in this entire series. It's probably Endeavor, but Bakugo might be like right behind him. From where he started to where he is now, like saying thank you to Edge, right? And even that smile, he wouldn't, y'all know the smile I'm talking about. Him smiling like that, like that's not something you would have expected from Bakugo season 1, right? Like he's come so far. And I have like a billion thoughts on him, but I'm probably gonna save that for a later date because I feel like this one is gonna be pretty long as it is. But seeing him calling himself Kachan, the effect that Midoriya has had on him and him having to look on the inside. let me stop, because I know I can go very long into, like, I can go into great depth for this character, but I'm gonna save that for a later date, especially because I feel like it's probably better to do that after this fight. So maybe closer to the end of the series. I don't know when this fight is gonna end. Maybe it ends in the next 3-4 episodes. Maybe at the end. I don't know. But I have a feeling that this is gonna be like an instrumental fight and a moment in his entire character arc. So I'm gonna save that. But just a beautifully animated, well-paced, amazing music placement and character growth episode. But the thing that I really wanted to talk about the most in this entire episode, and it's something that has been prevalent since episode 1 of this season, is something that Best Jeanist kind of was talking about closer to the point where Shigaraki had just reawakened and they were fighting him. And it's the concept or the idea of threads, right? So, like, all the things happening beforehand kind of leading to where we are now, and the ability to connect those threads to build the future, right? So if we look at it, we have the threads that All Might, and his predecessors created, that link to Deku, that will link to Eri and her, her class and all the people, and like those little kids that like Shoto and Bakugo were looking after for that little bit of time when they had to get their license. Them seeing Deku in his class and wanting to be like them, and then ultimately 1A and 2A and all those people trying to be like All Might, right? And the connection of the threads, so that whichever the next generation is they have something like a follow through to see or to have a path to the future, right? So one thing that I think is pretty prevalent in like anime manga in general, and maybe it might be a Japanese culture thing, is that they oftentimes bet on that next generation. Like, maybe it's one of those things where maybe we can't get it done, but the next generation always believe in them. And in this episode, it's the next generation, or I guess the current generation, but the next generation from All Might, or maybe a couple, because All Might's in his 50s. A generation after All Might, kind of going and doing what All Might would do, right? But in their own way, with their own abilities. And it's so interesting seeing those threads, because when All Might is walking down that stone walkway, and you see the lights and things behind him, those are the threads that are connecting the current reality to the one that All Might has had such an instrumental part in creating. And it's always the connection of everything. Like, there's nothing that is wasted. Everything that has happened has needed to happen in order for us to get to where it is. Now, like, there are characters who may be more minor, who maybe people don't think have had as, great of an impact on the series, but they had to do what they had to do to maybe even let the other characters shine, and that doesn't happen without them. So I think that, from my perspective, after watching the show, that's one of the biggest messages, right? Is to inspire the next generation by doing the good that you can, and ultimately being the good you want to see in the world, right? All Might in his generation and previously saw what the world looks like under All for One, and it was terrible, right? It was terrible. Like, everyone was scared. It was terrible. No one had anything to believe in. People were freaking out, all those kind of things. But then All Might comes along and helps to kind of get society together, like to establish, certain rules, to get things in a state where people aren't scared every day. It's crazy because it embodies both sides, right? It's amazing because they have a symbol of peace, but it's also made it easy to crumble because that symbol of peace is a person, and people can die, people can fail you, people can fall. So when All Might, kind of retired as the number one hero, you know, society became like started really wavering, and then you can see like the major cracks that started appearing, which kind of leads us to where we are today, where it's kind of like anarchy. Well, not quite anarchy, but it's very destructive. Like this, you have to live in like quarantine, kind of like quarantine zones where otherwise you might get robbed during the day. Like, and if you look at society, even a few months prior, it was functioning as well as it could, right? So, you know, seeing the effects that he's had, the positives and negatives, and, you know, seeing how maybe it needs to be moving forward, all of that can happen through the threads that kind of led us to get here, right? So if I had to guess, right, the new way that the world is going to function kind of after this fight, assuming everything goes as well as it can, right, is it's going to be built off of not just one person, but society as a whole. Because in the previous season, that's been one of the things that they've been trying to do, where, yeah, we have heroes and yeah, they're strong, but ultimately heroes are heroes. Like ultimately heroes are still people, like at the end of the day. And who saves the heroes when they need saving? And that's where you get Uraraka's beautiful speech. I say beautiful so many times. Don't try and count it. But her speech to have Deku kind of readmitted into the UA zone and saying, like, you know, here's what he's doing, here's what we're trying to do, we're gonna save you, but we need some help too. Like, we can't do everything by ourselves, you know? And then them accepting it, and some people not being super with it, but, you know, accepting it. And that's kind of how I think the world, or hopefully maybe the world functions that way moving forward. Maybe not, maybe there's a better way they find, but I think it's everyone has to work together to make the change that they want to see. And that change was ultimately built by All Might and his predecessors, other heroes as well. So I actually, you know what? I don't want to just say that. I don't want to just say that it's just All Might. It's everyone who was able to put the people in place who needed to be in place to enact the change, right? It's the threads of everything. It's everything mattering. It's not just like one thing. And so, yeah, I think that's that kind of that perspective, or, you know, best genius thoughts of the threads and how it connects, and even like physical threads, right? So like the stitching from a GOAT Edgeshot, because if Edgeshot didn't make the decision to stitch up Bakugo's innards, he would have died. And if Bakugo died, who would have saved All Might? And who would have fought All for One while Deku was fighting Shigaraki? Right? So, like, it's not only the literal, like the figurative threads, but the literal ones as well. That boy Horikoshi was in the lab, just like, you know what I'm saying, cooking. And so, yeah, just I feel like I've been talking for a while, but just an amazing episode. And I have so much I want to say about Bakugo. I have so much I'd love to say about Bakugo, but I'm gonna save it for a later time because I have a feeling that this is long enough as it is. So yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up there. For those who've watched this to this point, thank you, by the way. I still don't have like a name that I want. It'll probably be there by the time I upload the video, but who knows? But what did you guys kind of think of this? Because I'd imagine this is gonna be like a huge episode. I'm trying to kind of stay away from like social media and things like that because I don't want to get spoiled. But I have a feeling that this is probably like one of the bigger episodes, right? I have a feeling it's just gonna go up from here. But what did you guys kind of think about it? And what do you guys think about like my perspective of like the threads, right? And the threads that connect all the people, and it kind of being like a message or a meaning from the series. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Why? And like, what do you guys think my hero's trying to tell you? I'd love to hear it and then see it in the comment section if you feel so inclined to do so. but I imagine maybe it doesn't happen because like I'm super late. It's probably gonna come out closer to the end of the series. So if you feel like if you're on your own My Hero journey and you just happen to come across this video, please let me know what you think. I'd love to like see that, and maybe you can talk about it a little bit if you feel so inclined. But yeah, thank you for watching this. If you've gotten to this point, I greatly appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you.